Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Low Budget Review Show. I am your host, Eric Smith, and today I am talking about A Woman Like Joe and Other Dark Pieces by Kenzie Jennings from Blistered Siren Press. There's their logo. This is a short story collection. Uh, there are those who are familiar with A Woman Like Joe, who steals a man's heart during his own midlife crisis on the other side of the world, or a woman like Deandra, who robs the wealthy during the stormiest night of the season when the dark reveals its secrets, or a woman like Cassie, who collects airline travel perks no matter the cost to her or others' well being, or a woman like Heather, who succumbs to a lifestyle brand, the kind one doesn't ever recover from, or a woman like Jillian, who promises herself after her divorce to never be seduced by a stranger, or one out of a number of other women whose stories are told here as cautionary tales, perhaps, of the absurd, the grotesque, the demented, the forlorn, the brazen, or the downright strange. Perhaps even you may find some of them awfully close to home. Um, for the Too Long Didn't Watch crowd, I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. I think it's a fantastic short story collection with the theme of strong women running through it. Maybe some not so strong women. Kenzie Jennings is a fantastic writer. She's got two novels and a novella. Reception. The her splatter western, which is called Red Station, and then the Poisoner's Last Ride is a novella. And always listen to her. Hurt is another short story collection. They're all very strong. Um, and Kenzie writes fantastic characters, and reception was fantastic. Red Station was great. Poisoner's Last Ride, really enjoyable post-apocalyptic story, and so I mean that's reflected here in the stories here. A little redundant that sentence was. So just really quickly, A Woman Like Joe. We have a woman who meets her ex-husband's new wife. That's I'm just going to give you a sort of elevator pitch and not even that much. Not going to tell you anything else. It's just a story about a woman who meets her ex-husband's new wife. Look, this is a Other Dark Pieces. Come on. And look at that cover. We know what kind of book this is. Um, Tell Greg is about a woman who's robbing a house during a hurricane. Habits. See, now I may have to take a quick look which one is Habits. Oh. How to describe Habits. Really good story. I can tell you that much. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Ooh. Do I? Well, it's a story inspired by an urban legend. I guess that's. I don't want to say too much. I don't even want to give away what urban legend it is. The Academic Hearing Committee's final decision is a story half told through emails, half told like a traditional story about some murders happening during Zoom meetings. And there's an academic hearing committee involved. Don't want to say too much more. Really great story. Always the Bear, very topical, about a woman that likes to go camping by herself and what happens when other people show up at the campsite where she's at. And it's called Always the Bear if you're aware of things that happen on social media. The Toxins. That's another one I have to take a quick look at to remind me. Oh, yeah, the Toxins is the lifestyle brand one. Really, really interesting. And so yeah, it's a woman who gets involved with I guess, an influencer online to make her life better. Yeah, that's the one. Really liked that. I could just say really liked that about all these stories. All these stories I thought were fantastic. The one you're with is about a woman who finds a mysterious note in her new house. That's all I'm going to tell you. Same booth once a year is a very fun little story about a restaurant and someone who shows up at the same booth once a year. About Her Given Name. Fantastic story. It is a prequel to something that Kenzie Jennings has already written. And I don't want to say anything more about it, except it was fantastic. If you want to know what it's a prequel to, you can ask me in the comments. I'll post a spoiler warning and I will tell you, but I don't want to give it away. Perks is does it say airline perks in here? Yes. Airline travel perks. So it's about a woman who travels a lot and is part of a special perks program with the airline. The third woman is a sad story. There's a tinge of melancholy to it, perhaps. It is about a woman who is occasionally in life-threatening situations and a woman that helps her through. That's me trying not to give anything away, but at least giving you something. Another great story. And then It's Never Been About Beauty is a lifelong diary of sorts. I don't know how to describe it exactly. But all of the stories have story notes at the end. And so, or author notes. I will just say the author note for it says It's Never Been About Beauty is my sole creative nonfiction piece in this collection. Of everything I have ever written, this is the one piece that represents me the most. It is also the one I keep returning to, if anything, to remind myself of what I used to be and to be completely bare for all to see. So there's that. And it's a very powerful piece, especially knowing that. So, very, very general idea, if any idea at all, what these stories entail. Again, Kenzie Jennings is a fantastic writer. All of these stories are really, really good. There's a little bit of lighthearted stuff in some of them, some very, very dark stuff in a lot of them, and I appreciate the author's notes. Tells us a little bit of maybe the inspiration for the story. Some of them had to do with writer's prompts. Some of them have appeared in other books, other anthologies, some of which I have and haven't read yet. And I just really enjoyed this. Most short story collections, whether it's an anthology or a single author collection, you have ups and downs, and this is just starts high, and like any ups and downs are about this much. No low lows. Everything is really good, and then some are just fantastic, in my opinion. Um, some are a kick to the crotch. Some are a poke in the eye. I don't know. Some will hit you in the feels. Some will make you cheer for what happens to the assholes in the story, or at least I cheer for what happens to the assholes in the stories. Um, just a really solid collection that showcases uh, Kenzie Jennings' talents. I'm always excited when Kenzie Jennings has a book out. I grab it as soon as I can, and then typically read it as soon as I can after that. Sometimes I'm in the middle of something, or I have a couple things that I just already have scheduled to read and want to get to them. But yeah, I haven't owned this long. It hasn't been out for long as of this recording, and I got it as soon as I could and read it then as soon as I could after that. 5 out of 5 stars. A Woman Like Joe and Other Dark Pieces by Kenzie Jennings. Highly, highly recommended short story collection. There you go. Question for this video. I don't know. I didn't think ahead because I never do. I'm always flying by the seat of my pants. That's what I do here. I don't know. How do you I was going to ask, how do you feel about autobiographical pieces from an author? Not literally an autobiography, but say a short story or something that very clearly, maybe even that's not correct. I was going to say very clearly is the author. In this particular case, of course, I'm talking about the last story in the collection, which was It's Never Been About Beauty. I did not know that it was a nonfiction piece that was pretty autobiographical. I didn't know that when I was reading it. So for me, it's a weird question. I know. It's not something I've ever thought about, and I can't say that I've ever been bothered by it. Not that it happens or has happened that often. There are some books I have read, some straight up horror novels that I've read that I know reflect the author. There's a couple Brian Keenes that, well, there's one in particular, while reading it, I was like, this has got to be like Brian Keene inserting himself into this story. This sounds so much like him, and it seems like some stuff he was going through at the time. And then reading his nonfictions basically confirmed that. And even before that, one of his earliest works, I was like, I wonder if he's went through this. And then again, reading his nonfiction confirmed that to be the case. And I know, they say write what you know, and writers draw from their lives and from the real world all the time. But sometimes it really stands out as, oh, this is the author. So I guess, what do you think of that? Does it bother you if it's obvious that the author has sort of self-inserted themselves? I don't know if that's the best way to put it, but hopefully you know what I'm talking about. Or if, in this, say you're reading a short story collection and one of the pieces is very autobiographical. Do you find that interesting? Do you dislike it? Does this question make any sense at all? Let me know in the comments below. Should I start thinking of questions ahead of time? Let me know in the comments below. If you have any comments, questions, or corrections, please put those in the comments below. Comments are open for spoilers. Just post a spoiler warning. Try to be polite here at the Low Budget Review Show. Please like, share, and subscribe, all the usual YouTube stuff. And if you'd care to follow me on other social media, my Twitter is @Ronan5757. My Instagram, where I post pictures of books, comic books, board games, and fuzzy animals, is Eric Smith 5757. That's Eric with a K, ERIKSMITH 5757. On Blue Sky, I am @EL Smith. That's all I've got for you this time. This has been the Low Budget Review Show. I have been Eric Smith, and until next time, read more books.